There are, even in the United States, which is by any reasonable measure quite a successful economy, tens of millions of people who see something they could do but can't get there. They're stuck. They don't have a path to a better place. You're seeing over time these dramatic information failures in the job market on the side of individuals who don't have the visibility in what they can do, and the side of employers who don't have visibility into what individuals can do.
It's a collaborative problem at its heart. We have the tools, we have the infrastructure, we have the knowledge, we have the experience as a people.
The thing that worries me the most is people feeling helpless, not empowered to do something about it.
How do we make sure that graduates have the right skills for a connected world? If you can all see where there's a problem, you can all deal with the problem. There are ways of using technology to be able to foster and embed those kind of culture changes and to make individuals feel empowered.
Happy you're all here.
When we started talking about disrupting unemployment, that was very interesting because disrupting is innovation language and unemployment is labor policy language. But you can disrupt unemployment because it's a dysfunctional labor market that is not making use of the extreme value you have in people. And with the new tools we have, we can build a better labor market than the old dysfunctional one. The people here today, they are now talking about innovation for jobs policy.
This lighter weight idea feels like it has the agility that we are looking for. So we're getting a very diverse view of what jobs policy could look like, and in particular what good ideas are and even what some bad ideas are.
There are people without jobs and there are jobs without people. There's some really undervalued talent that employers, if they had the right means, could hire.
Those who are already at work are moving around among companies, but those who are on the outside are having an ever harder time going in.
You can't hire someone unless they have a bachelor's degree because a bachelor's degree was a proxy. How can we circumvent that proxy?
What we need, though, is a different taxonomy of jobs. Do you fit into this box, yes or no, when ultimately there is no box?
Here's an insight. If you looked at every job posting from an employer who wanted to hire a veteran, and you took a look at all of the unemployed veterans, let's take Virginia as a case study, who filed for unemployment in April of 2014. Nearly every entry-level technology job posted in the Commonwealth of Virginia could have been filled by an, at that time, unemployed veteran, but neither the veteran knew that that job was a potential for them because it wasn't in their named title, nor did the employer know to look for veterans of that background to understand that they had raw talent or skill.
Someone comes back from the military, they have all the skills of an RN except for one or two competencies, and the GI Bill is only situated for a 4-year degree, so do you make them go through that process?
A lot of companies are using GitHub and those kind of communities to see if somebody can actually do what they say they can do rather than looking at any of their credentials.
We're essentially building what we consider a skills-based marketplace. The notion that people could be matched to things not based on artificial credentials that were created out of an anachronistic educational system in the 1800s.
You have a critical mass of employers, dozens of employers, who commit to hiring based on demonstrated competencies. All the people who have the skills but can't get a job interview today will now have a channel by which they can show what they can do.
I think sometimes people forget what the goal is to a hiring process. It's making a better decision. It's not predicting who's going to do better in the interview.
Did you change your majors? Did any of you change your majors? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, oh, a lot of you.
We have choices that we can make, but they're today ill-informed based on what's actually happening in the economy around us. Data is at the heart of that communication problem. How well are our Labor Department data systems ingesting and describing as close to real time as possible the skills that are in demand?
Even if you set up the best listening platform in the world, unless you can then present back what you're hearing, it's kind of useless noise.
Modest changes in how we address and cultivate and nurture labor market data could foster a whole marketplace of tools, products, and services, all focused on helping me make smarter decisions at every step of my life. Both Republicans and Democrats want our labor markets to work better. It's now a function of whether there can be a more thoughtful method by which we harvest the skills that are in demand in the labor market, express them as open data to serve as fuel to any of these handoffs, these private, nonprofit academic applications that can help people make better sense of it.
So today, about half of all people earn a proper income. Okay? Out of those, about 1/5 are engaged in what they do.
If we crack the code, we will actually unearth a massive skills data-driven ecosystem.
When is policy good? If it's highly scalable, that's something that policy can do.
There is no one organization that has the capacity to process all the information. And there's a lot of cynicism about centralized systems. But then there's also an extreme on the other side that says, well, everything has got to be a bespoke, kind of authentic, locally derived initiative. And what you see there is you see a whole range of initiatives, many of which don't work, but some of which do work. But even those that do work don't get replicated, aren't sort of brought to scale.
I believe that the conditions are going to vary dramatically from one place in the world to another about what solutions will work.
The role of government in helping to solve these problems is largely as a convener, opening up data, working to get standards widely adopted that lower barriers to entry, issuing R&D and challenges to find non-traditional solutions to these problems.
But if an employer can know that there's a dozen other employers that they can talk to that are using this and using it well, it moves much more quickly.
When you think really about what a job is, every person is unique. When a person enters a job, then that job becomes unique with that person in it. There's as many jobs as there are people.
Absolutely, there are technology platforms that you can use to give people a voice, to hear what people are saying.
If we have innovation for jobs, if we can disrupt unemployment, then unemployed people without jobs, are now a resource.
You can imagine going back to the Industrial Revolution. Had we done the wrong things, it could have dislodged the impact from the access of democratized technology, of radios and TVs in every home, of the potential for everyone to have a car and to drive. Could you imagine if the requirements for having some of those privileges in life were 10 times as high as they were? The decisions that are made around how these things get shaped are crucially important.
There's not a whole lot more to say except to thank everybody for an extraordinary variety of observations and comments.